So the movie Space Sweepers is now on Netflix. Being the first Korean space movie, it is set in 2092 when Earth is no longer habitable and people started living somewhere between Earth and the Moon. With discarded satellites and spaceships deserted everywhere, it is a story about a crew of Koreans who made a living by collecting space junk in a space debris cleaning ship. Now, whether or not you have already seen the movie, I'm here to answer two questions. One, what is space debris and why is it a problem? And two, what can we do to clear all that waste in space? According to NASA, space debris refers to any man-made objects orbiting around Earth which no longer serve a useful purpose. It could be abandoned stages of rockets or unused satellites since the first launch by the Soviets in 1957. But anyway, starting from 2007, it mostly originates from collisions between satellites or explosions due to anti-satellite weapons. In the movie Gravity, the space debris was exactly caused by the Russians blowing up a spy satellite. Space debris can be as small as a fleck of paint that came off a spaceship. Moving at a speed of up to 18,000 miles per hour, it can be 10 times faster than the fastest bullet in the world. This is what makes it dangerous to anyone or anything in its orbit. Although all satellites in Eden can probably maneuver and adjust their orbit to avoid incoming debris, it could be catastrophic if they do not have the space sweepers who clear the space junk for them. That is because of a well-known phenomenon known as the Kessler Syndrome. According to NASA scientist Donald Kessler, if there's too much debris in the orbit, it will one day reach a critical point where a chain reaction will occur as more debris create more collisions and more collisions create more debris. This can render Earth's orbit unstable and the UTS will very likely fall apart. An example of chain reaction is what happened in Gravity, when Russia blew up just one satellite but ended up destroying a space shuttle, a space station, and many other communication satellites. Although right now we only have around 3,000 satellites in space, if Elon Musk continues with his Starlink project and launches up to 42,000 satellites into space, his cost of global internet coverage would be a lot of work to prevent the Kessler Syndrome, and by that I mean maybe actually having a space debris cleaning unit. As of today, there are no real consequences to leaving trash behind in space. Although United Nations already asked companies to remove their satellites 25 years after the missions, still none of them really take it seriously, except for the European Space Agency, who plans to launch their Clear Space One mission in 2025 and be the first mission to clear space debris in human history. Although objects in the low orbit can return to Earth naturally and safely, with most of them burning up upon re-entry or falling into the ocean, the higher the altitude, the longer the debris remains in space. Thus, it is important to develop technology to manually remove them from Earth's orbit. To do that, scientists have already come up with a list of solutions which can be boiled down to two concepts: bring them down or push them up. For the first method, what we aim to do is to take down the satellites without shattering them so we won't create any smaller debris. Whether it's using harpoon like the space sweepers or a giant claw or net as Clear Space One proposed, the basic idea is to capture the unwanted objects and drag them to some re-entry point so they can return into Earth's atmosphere. Another way to take down the satellites is to slow down and deorbit them using laser boom or electrodynamic feathers. Although it may seem dangerous to allow the space junk to freefall, just remember for the last 50 years, one piece of debris will fall back onto Earth every single day, yet no severe injury or property damage has been confirmed so far. For the second method, what we want to do is to relocate the unused satellites to somewhere else in space. Instead of having a waste management satellite to collect all the space junk, what we have is an entirely new orbit to store the space debris. Known as the graveyard orbit, this orbit is 300 kilometers away from the highest orbit active satellites are using, which is the geostationary orbit. Although this method can surely prevent collisions between active satellites and space debris, it is more like dumping your trash further away from home. You may not have to deal with them now, but someday in the future, they may become a problem again.